And soon enough, I'll have this mic. I'll get the clip, and the clip it'll be just clipped on my shirt or something. So we won't have to hold it. But before this introductory episode of the what we're calling Thinking Out Loud with Marcus E. Hendricks Jr. And as I'm saying that, welcome to Thinking Out Loud with Marcus E. Hendricks Jr. My goodness, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, what a beautiful thing to be doing, because it's not the first time. When I've said that every time I've done one of these, right? Whether it's Marcus Uninterrupted, whether it was the Call to Build, whether it was Teflon Talks, the Marcus Hendricks Show, and the biggest thing, what I've been recalling every time I've tried to reiterate a version of what I'm doing right now, my right getting on camera and doing a podcast, right? A long form, short form, direct to consumer, sending a message out. Again, I'm like four, and I'll get into it. I got so much. Just thinking out loud. Okay, so I'm already doing it. This is a sermon, all right? This is a motivational speech. This is an address to the nation. This is me getting my point across because I got something to say. And I'd be like, I know why the cage bird sings, because the cage bird got to sing. I'm going to get into that. I want to address why I'm holding the mic. I was saying it's not important to address. It's just something that's there. I'm going to have to hold the mic the whole time. Right? I don't have the clip for the lapel. I don't have the lapel clip for the lapel mic. And to get the audio, I believe this audio is going to be good. Uh, if you notice, I got my little, my little setup behind me. Got the lights on. Got the picture of myself. My little UNT albino bunny that I painted, or albino squirrel that I painted blue. Henny Blue, by the way. Beautiful thing. Branding. I'm building a brand. That's what Thinking Out Loud is all about. That's what everything I've done has been about building a brand, about building a world around myself. And again, I do so I'm a world builder. I'm a thought leader, truly, out in the world, and I'm trying to get better. I've been trying to get better for the longest but everybody talks about consistency, taking action, just doing the thing. That's what this is all about. That's why, if you notice, I got into it immediately. There is no intro. There's never been an intro in anything I've done. Even I'm listening back to the Marcus Hendricks show last night. That's like a cool thing to say. I was listening back to an episode of my own podcast from 3 years ago last night. And I had an intro song. It was called Anything is Possible. So that was cool, right? It's like anything is, I'm Hendrix. I go by Henny sometimes, right? That's one of my, my self appointed monikers. Again, like when Drake says, I would never make a name for myself and change the name that I just gave to myself. The Marcus Hendricks Show, the Call to Build, Teflon Talks, Marcus Uninterrupted was all one thing. Thinking Out Loud, it fit the Henny on my Instagram, right? The It's Hit a Minute. There was all different forms of one, me actively, right? Thinking out loud, thinking in public, building in public, and doing the thing. But trying to find my way into doing the thing so that when I get to do the thing for real time, and I talk about AI and the practice. We're talking about practice, which, by the way, because this is the point. Listen, I wrote a book. It's not a long book. It's a manifesto. It's what I call a framework booklet. It's a framework that I put together, and it's in booklet format. So it's a framework booklet. I invented that. That was not a thing. That's not a thing. I've never heard framework booklet before. It's not a thing that people do. But you know what? I'll tell you. This is where I got it from. This is one of my inspirations for it. So this is TD Jakes' "Connect to Your Calling." It's taken out of one of his larger books, I believe. Uh, yeah, so it says this compact digest will help you to identify and understand the longest and interests that are at the core of who you are. But I think that compact digest, that's what the book that I'm talking about that I wrote. It's called MetaGen. Play the game, change the rules. META-GEN. You can find it on my stand store at, I believe, M Hendricks 27. Hendricks is HENDRICKS. In case you need to know. Excuse me. Right, and I was also inspired by this right here, this little book called On Tyranny. All right, so it's basically a little manifesto. 20 lessons from the 20th century, really good and timely, as well as the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita. I don't know. I never know if I'm saying that first name right. And this is thicker and longer than my own is, and than those are. In fact, it runs at 300, 400 something pages. While all of them are short, it's it's the gosh, and I hate that I don't know for sure. I'm like, I want to say Buddhist, kind of Buddhism Bible. Forgive me. I don't want to make anybody upset. And then this as well, the Dhammapada, right? This is sayings of the Buddha, and it's just, let's see. It's 100 something pages. Also over there, I've got the seven spiritual laws of success, and another short book called When to Speak Up, When to Shut Up. Uh, yeah, just I like the little compact digest, right? Framework booklets, manifestos, right? They give you actionable. That's what my favorite book in the Bible is, James. It's action oriented. It's like, yo, do this, be this, do this. I enjoy being, because what I've come to understand, and some from people that inspire me, some as I term I define, right, um, is paramentor, PARA dash mentor. And a paramentor is simply somebody who teaches you by teaching, right? Teaches you from afar, maybe not a direct mentor. When we talk about parasocial relationships, which is what exists right here, right? Anybody who watches this will be engaging in a parasocial relationship with me, and I with you, right? By sending a transmission out. It's actually really cool. Movies do the same. We talk about telekinesis, right, and telepathy, and then tra- getting into somebody's mind, transferring thoughts and ideas into somebody else's mind. That's fully the things that happen. Thing that happens. Okay, that's fully the thing that happens when you're doing something like this. Uh, people are so interesting. I love people. Uh, 'Cause I'm intentional about pressing the issue for my sake. I need to know that I did the thing I said I was going to do. Or one thing I always say, I don't enjoy people saying Marcus didn't do this or Marcus did do this, when Marcus is like, no, I didn't do that, or I did that. Right? I'm going to let you know what I did or didn't do. Again, that's one of the things that I stand by, and it's all in metagen. You won't hear me say I'm going to, as much as, this is what's happening or this is what I've done. And even in the context of what I've done, I'm going to tell you it because it's what I'm doing, right? And it's and how it's taught me into what I'm about to do, or what's happening actively. But I try not to do the um, just that thing that and that's what I wanted to get into on this episode, this first inaugural episode of Thinking Out Loud, because what I was thinking out loud about and before doing this, and what drove me into saying, okay, let's go ahead and do it, is especially in today's age, we are all we're so inspired. That's the cool thing. There's so much information. We're being inundated from every angle. There's so much noise, and there's so much to do that we all are inspired to do everything. But so few of us are doing anything because we talk about analysis or paralysis by analysis. I don't know that we're even doing the analysis enough to actually call it paralysis by analysis. I think we're having paralysis by the need to analyze, like to have to actually sit there. Something I've been saying recently. We talk about overthinking. I don't know that I believe in overthinking anymore. Not in the way that we understand. I don't overthink. I think things through to completion. I think fully. I was thinking that, like, we all think. I think thoughtfully. I'm a thoughtful thinker. I actually do the thinking. That's what I love. One of Bishop Jakes' main thing is as a man thinking, right? He pushes as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Genuinely, for me, I think in my heart that I'm a doer. I'm an action taker. I'm an executor. I make things happen. One of my nicknames, one of my mottos has been, and forgive me, listening to a podcast is not like reminding. No, I am indeed a man of the cloth. When we're like, regardless of how you want to spin it, I am. And so when I think about it, like one of my monikers as well, my nickname and playlist for myself has been Mr. Get Stuff Done. Now, yeah, the playlist says SHIT, it does, but seriously, Mr. Get Stuff Done. That is something that I even in my playlist, I say my playlists are intentional. I don't have 500 playlists on my Spotify that I've made myself just for fun. There are some on there with five, six, seven songs, six, seven. And again, the funny thing about it, like I'll look at some of those playlists and look and think, man, you didn't finish this playlist. Like, what made you stop along the way? Um, the thing that made me stop was that moved on to the next thing, but it's because that thing was done by being done. Titling the playlist was more than making the playlist because it was where I was in that moment. It was me documenting a moment, just like this is, right? Just like Metagen is. Metagen was not the purpose of it is not for consumer purchase. It's not for me to get mass scale adoption of people buying the book, and not necessarily of the framework of the framework booklet. It's not for people to take the manifesto necessarily and run with it. It's for the fact that again, it was me documenting something I'm actually living, and learning and codifying the way that I've lived my entire 25 years enough for me to be able to actually mechanize it. Yeah, that's because that's necessary. And if I was Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain, that he may read, who reads it can run with it. If I'm the only one that reads my own work, that's okay because my work was made to give somebody the ability to run with it. So to have when you become self-referential, I said one of my other playlists, at the edge of reality, it's only you and God. I stand on the edge of reality on a regular, like in my life. So because of that, I'm required. I'm self-referential. The only people I answer to are myself and God. I'm accountable to a lot of others, but I don't answer to anybody else. And people have a problem with that. They do. Because how can you have me come take ownership of your space, but you don't really want, if I'm taking ownership of my space? I would take ownership of your space through taking ownership of my space. If I'm in your space, the ownership I'm taking of your space is me taking ownership of the space that I take up in your space. It has nothing to do with the individual in which I'm interacting or supposed to be deferring to. And again, that's what I think people don't love, is my non-willingness to defer to others. Mainly because I'm not going to disrespect you by pretending to defer to you to make you to placate your ego. What I will do is respect you by learning from you and allowing you to lead in the way that you were called to lead. I'm not going to try to lead. I'm not going to try to lead. I'm not going to try to do your job for you. I'm not going to do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. And sometimes my job is to lead by following. It's to show others, right, that you are that they talk about the first follower is the true leader, because a leader by himself is just a man making noise. And oftentimes, like, it look real crazy, don't it? Now, when somebody takes up the mantle to say, you know what, I see something there, I'm going to go where he's going, because now somebody else is going to say, I see something there, I'm going to go where he's going, and what they'll find is, oh, he's going where they're going. And the hope and the desire is that they would look to find out more about the individual that they're following in the front. Because at the end of the day, we're all leaders in our willingness to take action and be agents of ourselves, to take our own God-given authority and move in it. And the biggest part of that, right, is okay, if you're going to designate somebody as a leader, right, because you're co-signing somebody by following them. You just are. Even if you're not in direct alignment or agreement, you are giving them your stamp of approval to other people. It may not, they may not, to them and to the people around you. You may be the only one who looks at it, and I'm speaking from experience or from my real life, where I have to remember, again, when you are letting somebody lead you, when you are following somebody, even if it's not fully out, or even if you're aware of the purpose, you have to recognize that that's what people are watching. So I know what I'm teaching in that moment is how to be a leader on your own by knowing who and when to follow. It's deeper than just allowing it. That's why it gets tough to explain through only actions. When we talk about actions speak louder than words, 100%. And still, actions don't speak. Words do. Like, words are how we speak. We it's 85% of it. 85% of communication may be nonverbal, and I don't know that that number's ever been true, or if it's true today. I don't know how that changes. Like, if we as a species grow and ebb and flow within how much we communicate from our mouths. But if 85% of communication is nonverbal, I was saying the other day, like, what you end up doing is leaving your actions open to interpretation. That's gonna. I'm fine myself. Like, and there's some I really do not get the credit I deserve, and I can say that with full authority. Again, I do not get the credit I deserve for being who I am, and literally for being who I am. When I was just, the action, the interpretation. So that's why it's important to say what you mean and mean what you say. That's why that matters so much. And the best way, and the only way to do that is to be clear on what you're thinking. They say peace, happiness. Gandhi said, when your happiness, I mean, when your words, thoughts, and actions align, I'm at peace. Center, I'm like, that peace that surpasses all understanding. Hell, I barely understand it. I just know again, it's real. If it wasn't real, I wouldn't be living it. So that's a lot. That's a lot in 15 minutes already. And I think about like the time frame and what this looks like, how long this goes. Well, in general, today it's 2 o'clock. I probably got until about 2:45 to be here, right? Which puts me at about an hour exactly. And notice again, there is no intro here. There will be no breaks. I'm running for an hour straight, thinking out loud. Because what it allows me to do is when I come back tomorrow or Friday or Saturday, whenever the next episode is, it allows me to do the same thing at a deeper level of integration and synthesizing because I've done so before. It's like we talking about practice, not the game, practice. Again, going back to Metagen, that's in there. That's a part of it, right? Because of what I've come to understand is that practice is the game and the game is practice. It's all this game of life. It's all life. This is practice for some larger thing down the line. Yeah, sure. And still, if there is no larger thing down the line, then this was the larger thing. And if you don't recognize it in the moment of the thing, as Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, says, you got to take advantage of the lifetime of an opportunity of a lifetime, the lifetime of the opportunity. How do you do that when you don't recognize one? If you don't recognize an opportunity on its own, how are you supposed to do that? But two, if you don't recognize that it needs to be taken advantage of, right? This is the opportunity of a lifetime. You may think that the opportunity itself will last a lifetime. Lifetime opportunities don't last a lifetime because you don't know how long a lifetime is going to be. It may be the opportunity of a lifetime because you only have this lifetime up to this point to seize it. And that's deep, right? We're talking about those things that sustain you, that keep you going. Life is a process. I say life is a series of constant choice points. That's why every choice does indeed matter. And still, while we can't get bogged down in the details of the choices, we cannot, get stuck in the weeds, as they say, miss the forest for the trees. Somebody said last night, you can't miss the forest for the trees because you gotta recognize the forest is trees. If you miss the forest for the trees, you didn't know what you were looking at. I find people don't enjoy that. How can you be a man in the church and also understand culture at such a deep level? Because because culture exists. It's a thing. It's real. It actually exists. And if I don't understand it, how can I discuss it with individuals who are with? I'm like, okay, people are so busy on being saved in the afterlife, and I get it. I understand. We all want to hear "well done," yes. But the question is going to be, what did you do while you were here? Who did you help? Who did you deliver from evil? Who did you make realize that they are a human being and still in being a human being, they have agency and choices to make, and that those choices matter, and that they have the authority to act in that agency. Culture exists for a reason, and the same things we blame culture for, okay, those things may be true. Culture may corrupt, and and the love of money may indeed be the root of all evil. But I tell you this much: on this earth, you can't do much without money, and in this earth, culture moves. So without resources and without relevance and resonance, you're stuck in the water. You're dead and that's again, we talk about eternal life. Yo, without the things you need to make, because I don't want to go there again, and I don't know who, I never know who may listen to these. I never know who may listen to these. In large part, again, I that's why I would genuinely want to be consistent, as we call it. Everybody loves to say these days, you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. Yo, I'm as consistent as they come because I'm still hitting from the block forever and always. Here, now, been that, is that, gonna be that. Like, I look, I'm the old, I look. It's a picture of me right there. And I was like, look, I'm in the crib. This ain't no, fluffed up studio. It's not professionally recorded. It's not, but notice I have everything I need to make the thing that I'm doing happen. I don't need anything else. But because I have everything I need, then it's like, okay, you're gonna move the goalpost and say, well, now you gotta have this. Now you gotta do it this way. No. And when I say no, oh, you're being defiant, you're being difficult. No, I'm being me. And it's a problem when you know that in general, but especially again, B25 and black, I'm a threat. Yeah, to a structure and to a society that. And here's the thing about it: how am I a threat to something that want to pretend I don't exist? That's crazy to me. So I don't even want to go there. I don't want to do the. I'm not because I feel like at a point that starts to sound victimy, and it's not. It's really not in general. But I don't even want to give ammunition to anybody who may say, yeah, and that's why. But I don't in a certain way. Who am I worried about? The people who aren't going to listen anyway because they want to be able to say, "Why this is what I'm not doing," or "This is what I am doing." One thing I do if I may comment on somebody's YouTube video, and as like it may seem like I'm trolling, I'm not. Because one thing, if I'm going to comment on your video, I'm also going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to watch all of it, and I'm going to listen to what you had to say with sincerity and like with open ears, with an open mind, non-judgmentally. I'm thinking about something else right now. Again, like it's not the thinking out loud aspect of it. It's not hard, but it's not easy to hold multiple thoughts at once when you're thinking out loud, especially right as a verbal processor because I think things through. I said, the Marcus Hendricks show that did exist was before going to be called "Does That Make Me Crazy?" And I said I was like at that time. These things that when I talk about that, they're documented multiple places, right? So I'm a broken record in that way. But and I laugh looking back when I talked about people not seeing the opportunity thing. What I didn't say in that moment was Nipsey's line where he said, like I feel like I'm looking a gift horse, and like you can look a gift horse in the mouth and not know what you're looking at. I'm just one of the ones that feel like I know what I'm looking at. I'm one of the ones that feel like I know what I'm looking at, or I feel like I'm one of the ones who feels like I know whatever. I'm thinking I don't. There may be I don't know who know if there are other ones that know what they're looking at or feel like they know what they're looking at. And I almost can only say I feel like I know what I'm looking at because to say I know what I'm looking at is a level of that I don't want to claim because we live in a time enough so where you do have to hedge. Like you have to hedge a little bit. And the best way to hedge is to just be honest. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like honesty kills. The truth does something to people that we don't yet know how to live with. We a lot of us don't know how to live with the truth. I mean, that's what I'm like. It kills because it's like the stress. It's a stress behind it. You have to reconcile the reality that you don't have to reconcile because it is reality. I think double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Yo, the truth, the truth is the double-minded man is fighting himself. That's why he's unstable in all his ways. It's his ways that are unstable. The evil that I wouldn't do, I do. The good that I would do, I don't. And when you got to sit there and actually question why, and you know that there's nobody there but you, does that make me crazy? Like I say, so I'm like, the person I talk to more than anybody else is myself. And when I came to really realize that, what I was talking to myself, and I'm like, yo, Mr. Brown be like, I said self, myself said, hmm. I said self, you look at how you looking. I said self, myself said, hmm. And every time I answer, somebody say something back. It's hilarious because I'm serious. When I say don't take me seriously, or don't not take me seriously, take me satirically. Like, understand, I may be joking most of the time, I may be BSing most of the time because I'm a free spirit. I'm funny. I know that I'm funny for one. Again, like, I love comedy for that reason. The ability to tell a joke and not tell a lie is one of the most masterful things I think you can do, because it's the only way we tend to be able to live with the truth, because we think it's a joke until it hits you as the truth, and by then I've stepped into your consciousness. I've respectfully infiltrated your thoughts and planted a seed, and then watered it and nurtured it in such a way with tender love and care. Little TLC. You're always on my mind. I know that's SWV, but it's the same game. Yeah, I think the reason I wrote the framework booklet the way I did it, like, in 26 pages, I got exactly what I needed to say out. In 26 minutes, I've gotten out everything I need to say. Everything, it's not everything I'm thinking necessarily, but I've gotten out everything I need to say. And yeah, it comes in part because I don't need to post a video every day in order to say what I'm saying. People post a video every day or be consistent because you're trying to get attention. And that's something to think about. We talk about attention economy, attention is the most valuable currency. Y'all sound thirsty to me. Sound desperate. I'm gonna be honest. And I don't mean respectfully or disrespectfully. I'm just telling the truth. I'm saying what I'm saying. They sound desperate to me. You got it, and then you got it, and then you got it. I'm like, I remember, the work that went into just producing the audio podcast, and the feeling of I got to get this out by this time, or people are gonna think I'm not doing what I'm doing, only to find out that nobody gave a damn. Seriously, nobody cared. Like, hear me. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. They didn't. They did not care. Even the people that claim they cared, and I'm not saying they didn't care in the way of like anything toward them, but the people that claim they cared, if anything, they cared about me, and thank you, I appreciate it. But they didn't care. It didn't change their lives. It would have had they, and oof, I can say that for sure. That I can say for sure. Again, that's the point of it. That's the whole point of why I wrote Metagen and everything I've done. It's truly life changing work, world shaping, thought building. Like it, yeah, absolutely. But if you're not willing to engage with content that's going to grow you anyway, you're not going to engage with content that's going to grow you. We blame the algorithm for everything. The algorithm is not the problem. The algorithm is a reflection and an amalgamation of us as individuals and as a society and as a culture. And you know why I know that? Because I know the culture. I know the game. And I've decided to play my own. Metagen. Play the game. Change the rules. You get to a point, I'm like, 30 minutes in. Because here's the truth. Most people, I know for it, most people, I was just listening to a podcast where Pastor Keon and his wife, Pastor Keon Henderson, his wife Shawnee Henderson, saying, I'm thinking something there, but he said something. He said most people, talking about people and their pastors. He was like, let me not say most people because you don't know most people. I don't know most people, but most of the people I know, you ask them to sit down for 30 minutes and think out loud and genuinely have something to say, something worthwhile, and say it with conviction and confidence and coherence, consciously, again, like to be aware of it in real time, to actually do a stream of consciousness and it makes sense, to make it make sense, to do logic. And this is math. And you've heard, that's one thing I can say. I hear most people I've ever heard, I hate math, I don't like math, math this, math that, I'm not good at math, math. Well, 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 seriously. You don't like math, you don't like thinking. And I'm gonna tell you something. To think is to live. If you're not thinking, you're not living. That's the kind of thing that touches people, I guess, the wrong way, and I'm not sure why. Because truth is not supposed to kill. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the light. It's not supposed the truth is, and that's again, you want to talk about a trick of the enemy. Ooh, you want to talk about a trick of the enemy. That's as trick of the enemy as it gets, is that we've been convinced that the truth is something to be scared of, to be opposed, to be argued about, to be discussed. What are we talking about? That's what I think. What are we talking about? Help me understand. What are we talking about? Across the board in the world today, what are we talking about? But you know what I know? People like me are not involved in most of these conversations. A lot of times, because even when I am, I sit back and I listen. And I'm like, y'all sound stupid. Not because you sound stupid. You sound real smart. You sound real good. You sound like you know what you're talking about. I just wish you knew what you were talking about. Because what would that do for you? But if you knew what you were talking about, you wouldn't be confident in it because you'd have to know what you're talking about. And you don't. The only thing I know is that I know not much, if anything, and that there is forever more to know. Most people are not willing, and again, I can say that most people are not willing to sit in that uncomfortability of being unsure and uncertain. But again, my point within that is, yo, if you're going to be unsure and uncertain regardless, you could at least do yourself a favor and be sure that you're unsure. I'm sure I don't know. I know that I know nothing. Shout out Socrates. That's the one thing I know for sure is that I don't know much of anything. I think a lot. I believe things. I don't know much for sure, and I'm okay. Like I not. I don't. It's like it sounds so cop outish. I enjoy that feeling. I enjoy the fact that I'm a lifelong learner. When you talk about learn something new every day, I say no, for real. You're supposed to learn something new every day. It may be the same thing every day. But if you learn that thing every day, you're learning something new every day, I promise you. There's no way you learn the same thing every day and don't learn something new about it because if you're learning it, you're going to learn something new. I want to be like, yo, this has been Thinking Out Loud with Marcus E. Hendricks Jr. Thank you. I love you. Goodbye. I want to say that. But I always say what happens is when I close out one of these, then I'm like, I'm on a roll. I'm in it. I don't be in the project hallway talking about how I be in the project all day, but listen, I'm outside. They say I don't know scripture enough. They say I don't know the word the way I'm supposed to. I don't study the Bible the way I need to. Sure, you're right. You are right. I don't. I don't. We were talking about Peter last week in Bible study. And I laughed. I'm like, I'm Peter. They said Peter was too brash, too bold, too confident, didn't pray enough, and acted too fast. Well, listen, I pray. That's one thing I do. I pray. And even still, I probably don't pray enough. But I guess you replace my I don't pray enough with I don't read the Bible enough. It's a long book. I was saying last night, I'm like, yo, no, for real, it's a lot. The Bible is a beautiful text. That's why I have a genuine admiration and appreciation and understanding for the biblical text. It's the Word of God. It's the truth. It's the most beautiful thing there is. It's poetic. It's majestic. It's fulfilling. And I think there's something to be said about the fact that people can hear me say things like that and still their objection is like that's cool, but And I'm not mad at the. I'm not. I'm never. I'm not even mad at the. That's cool. But then I, if I challenge them and I'm like, okay, so what about? Then now they got excuses. I don't have an excuse. I'm like, I barely have an explanation. I'm barely gonna like if what's understood need not be explained, but some things do need to be expressed. Yo, it's some stuff I'm not even about to. I'm just not gonna address. I'm not avoiding it. I'm just not giving you that. I'm not gonna give you that energy. I'm not giving you that power because you need it. You need that power, and that's not where power lies. Your power don't lie in condemning another man. Your power don't lie in judging me. Your power lie in confessing your own sins and repenting, and then you get to, he don't hey, you live in a glass house, stop throwing stones. Let he that is without sin cast the first stone. You live in a I'm saying if you live in a glass house, I can already see inside. What you throwing stones from the inside for? How you gonna hate from outside of the club? You can't even get in. We both standing in line. I don't know if my name in the book. My name may not be on the list. And if I get to the if I get to the front of the if I get to the door to the bouncer, he'd be like, "Yo, dog, you." I said, if I get to the line and he'd be like, "Yo, you not on the list," I'm like, "That's crazy." Somehow I'm not surprised. I don't know why, but I'm not surprised. I did think I was gonna be on the list, but I guess okay. Like, can I go back? Can I go back and try again? How does this work? What's next? I don't want to go to the other place. So what's next? And again, and you say that, I mean that, which is also why I'm like, no, look, I'm on the list. Eh, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm on the list. I'm on the list. I don't. I'm on the list. I'm not. That's. I'm not worried about being on the list anymore. I don't think I was ever worried about being on the list. But I'm 25 and not worried about being on the list. I'm on the list. He told me so. He's telling me so right now. That's a word for everybody. They don't want y'all to hear that. Man, they don't want y'all to hear that. Like I wish I was making this up. I wish I was pretending. I wish I was playing. I wish I was performing. I wish it was an act. I wish I was joking. I wish, but it's not. So how about this? If you can't feel the passion and the sincerity and the feeling and the realness through the phone, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say other than exactly what the heck I'm saying. Folks can't make songs without talking about sex. Yes, you can. I'm gonna tell you, they're not gonna pay you the way you want, but you can do it. I promise you can do it. I'm thinking out loud. We found love right where we are. Cause I'm gonna still drop a bar on you. I'm gonna still drop a song on you. 'Cause I gotta make it. I gotta make it. If I gotta make it make sense, I'm gonna let you know it makes sense already. Like I don't have to make it make sense, but if I gotta make it make sense, I'm okay. I got you. Don't worry. No, I got you. I understand. I get it. I get it. I'm telling you, I get it. Understood need not be explained. What's understood need not be. And still, for your sake and mine, I'm going to express what I need to, so that there is no confusion. They say assumption make it out of you and me. Well, I'm gonna let you know something. You can make it out of yourself, but not me. I'm not gonna give you that power. So I'm gonna be decisive and clear and say what needs to be said. I'm gonna live my life in such a way that you cannot deny. Yeah, hey, you know what? Yeah, we saw him, and yeah, actually, he's exactly who he said he was. Didn't believe it, didn't think it was possible, but he's exactly who he said he was. And part of it is that he said is he did indeed. Yeah, Marcus said that. I be like Ian Dunlap, he goes by the master investor. He'd be like, put a yes in the chat if I've made you money. I say put a yes in the chat if I've changed the way you think. Put it yes in the chat if you've heard me say something was like, wow, that young man's got a mind. No, he's got it. Like I said in the beginning, I got something to say. I really do. This kind of thing. You talk about a consistency. Look, I'm excited to do this again. This is what I live for. This is my life. This is my ministry. Don't you know they'll never play this on the radio? Don't you know they'll never play this on the radio? But if I talk about God, my songs won't get played, huh? Well, if it take away from my ends, and I hope it take away from my sins. And during the day that I'm dreaming about, next time I'm in the club, everybody's singing out, Jesus walks. God showed me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. I'm not afraid. We talk all the time. And like Cat Williams said, I'm a happy person because I laugh. He said, I laugh all day. I'm a happy person because I pray all day. They say pray without ceasing. And I'm like, yo, if your life is a prayer itself, the I'm not supposed to be here thing, for real. In whatever different ways. Folks not supposed to be. We're not human life is not supposed to exist. We are a living prayer. We are living love letters to God from God. And that in itself, again, that constant reciprocal communication that people don't lean into. Lean not into your own understanding, bro. This lean into the fact that yo, you don't have to. Lean into the peace that surpasses all understanding. Lean into peace. And the way you lean into peace, the way you lean into power is prayer, God's presence. It is life as worship, life as ministry. I say, life is ministry, ministry is life. And I'm so for real. And I don't mean that on no church stuff. I don't mean that on no religious stuff. A Pastor Brian say, we don't do, it's not, there's church work and there's work of the church. They are two different things. And yes, church work is still necessary. I had to try to get a brother in ministry to understand. At the end of the day, the church is a business. And I don't mean the kingdom, I mean the physical building. The church is an organization that is indeed a business. Okay. We live in a capitalist society. The church is a business. There's church work involved, right? There are employees, there are bills to pay, right? Okay. There's jobs and work to do. And still, that's not is so far from what matters and so far from all there is that again, like yeah, I can understand why one would be turned off by the it's a business aspect because it is so much more than that. The work of the church is to build the kingdom here on earth so that we may build the kingdom in heaven. So we may have the right to be so after I build so we have the right to be a part of the kingdom of heaven. You know, I'm like a righteous man's steps are ordered, but if he don't take them, it's not a righteous man. A person who doesn't take the steps that are ordered is not righteous. We're near 45 minutes. I'm like, I'm gonna go the full hour. Just given, I mean, the first 15 was easy. The last 15 is like it's lyrical exercise. One, two, breathe easy, breathe easy. I had to say it again because I messed it up the first time. This is very much the if you made it this far, shout out to you. If you made it here at all, thank you. All right. But if you turn it off at any point, I mean, I guess I don't know why, let me know, but you'd have to get to this point to have to let me know to be hearing that. And in so many ways, again, I'm like, what I'm doing here, this is going on YouTube, and this will be where you find me. I'll drop these on YouTube. Hopefully I can get my 10 and I'll keep writing articles and notes in my Substack. Hopefully I can get to 10 subscribers so that I can go live. The plan genuinely is to record a podcast, right? An audio podcast as well. Um, and my thought was for thinking out loud to then be and also an interview and conversation series, and still maybe, but again, this format, I don't want to throw wrenches in it and make it again. That's where inconsistency steps in, right? That's where you get incoherence, right? That's when you're trying to balance something again. That's the double-minded man, unstable in all his ways, and things can't be done like that. You cannot execute that way. So my thought earlier was Teflon talks may be the thing. I don't want to have too much going at once as well. I want to be very single-minded, right? The sniper rifle and not the machine gun, taking very calculated, precise shots, precision, accuracy. It's ready, aim, fire, and then do it all over again. Chop wood, carry water. Chop wood, carry water. Don't carry water and chop wood. There's nothing wrong with carrying water and chopping wood. If you're gonna carry water, chop wood, then carry water, chop wood. But don't chop wood, carry water, and then carry water, chop wood the next day. It's deep. It's deep because like even that right there, it's not saying a whole lot. And again, we talk about insanity, like to say doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Repetition, practice makes perfect. And what I be saying is practice may make perfect. I don't know. Because what I do know is perfection is impossible. How about this? Practice makes possible. Can we live with that? And then see what's on the other side when we get there? I say you how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? That's the wrong question. You know what woodchucks do? Build dams. I don't know if woodchucks or beavers build dams, but I believe a woodchuck and a beaver are the same thing. My point is, woodchucks don't chuck wood, they build dams. The woodchucking is about building a dam. People be so concerned with building the dam that the dam don't get built because they look up and they're like, well, I don't have a deal. Where how am I supposed to build a dam? Chop wood, carry water. You focused on the wrong action. And therefore you're not able to take the action because you don't know the action to take because you're focused on the wrong action. The thing you're focused on is not an action. It's the outcome of the action. It's the thing that comes from the work. You want to see a dam get built. I want to chop wood and carry water. I want to. I desire to because I know. It's the only thing I know. I say I'm good at two things. I've come to truly understand. I do two things. And here's the thing. I do those two things truly exceptionally well. I preach and I pray. I can do those real well. Talking, thinking, teaching, yeah, all day long. Everything else, kind of mediocre. I love effort. I'm gonna put effort behind everything. So I'm gonna try. And I recognize again, anything I try at, I'm gonna try and try again. Unless and if I find it's not for me, it's because I tried. I really did. And still I know, okay, practice makes possible. So it's possible if I practice at it. Am I willing to practice it? If not, I gotta be real with me. Free game. I'm like truly, the work that I put in, the practice, the thing, the what I do to make this possible, it goes without being seen. And again, I think that's what's crazy. We talk about building in public and putting yourself out there. It goes without being seen, and I'm so public. I'm so public with everything I do. This is where I mean, again, like it gets to a point where I'm like, it's hurtful. I'm a human. I'm a man with emotion. I'm a man with pride. You don't do like that. Yes, I feel a way about the fact that I'm like, wow, look at all these people getting recognition and all these rewards and awards and accolades and acknowledgement and respect. I get it. Respect is a loose word in today's society, for sure. Right. But again, it's like you look at that Kendrick, he say, I know if I'm generous or hard, I don't need recognition. Where I'm rewarded, where that's God's decision. I know that. I really do. I believe that. I believe that. I really do. I think that. I really do. And still, I know nothing. And it does get tough where you're like, man, yeah, that would be a hard thing to be wrong about. And you would only find out you're wrong about that by being wrong about it. Like, there's no knowing it. There's no way to know it till you get to the end of the road and look back and recognize. And then when you look back and recognize, wow, I did all that. There was something to it because I did all that. It really happened. So there's something to it because it really exists. It's a real thing. I'm not making it up. I might have had to make it make sense at many points along the way, but it made sense. At the end of the day gonna end, and joy surely cometh in the morning. So when I face trials and tribulation of any kind, I shall count it all joy because there's something coming on the back end of this. The back end one may be the something that is enough for me. But what happens if I shift my perspective and recognize that the thing itself, because there is no back end, because it'll never end, and it'll always come back. So what happens if I look at this as what it is and let it be what it is and let that be what it is and just keep going? Because there's going to be something else. You know, my future kids and dear future wifey. I know what I'm saying. To my future kids and dear future wifey, listen, one, as I have said before, I'm going to say again, I love you. Beyond that, when you hear this, when we're sitting down one day and I'm like, yo, y'all want to see something? Y'all want to see something cool? Here's me at 25. In so many ways, building the legacy that we're actively living on when you see this. High tide does indeed raise all boats. And so it's really cool when, being the boat and the tide. God is the boat and the tide. I'm not the boat nor the tide. Let me be very clear on that. I'm in the boat, and he's the boat and the water. He's the ark and the water. He the one that sent the flood and the one that told Noah to build the ark. If he wasn't going to send no flood, he wouldn't have told Noah to build the ark. God is the beginning and the end and everything in between. Hit him with a let us pray. No, I mean, I guess seriously, a quick prayer just to send out to the world and genuinely, in that spirit, God, thank you for just your presence, who you are, who you've been, and who you continue to be. Thank you in advance for everything that is to come. Thank you for who you've made me to be, the confidence and the courage that you've allowed me to experience and feel in your spirit and amongst your presence. Thank you for the ability to worship you and to do so in ways that don't, maybe to the general public, to the people who don't understand what worship truly is. We think it's singing and dancing only, but worship is so much more. And life is worship. A lifestyle of worship is pleasing to God. I know it. You've told me so. So in that spirit, may everybody know how they worship best and be able to activate it so they can be in your presence and know what it's like to be called by your name and to have you with them. As that my prayer has been, not to have me be with you and you be with me in my decision making, but for me to be with you in your decisions for me. And not the decision making for me because the decisions are already made. It's only on me to walk them out. That's all I want to do is continue to walk into your will, be who you've called me to be. You know who you called. That's for sure. And so as I build this ark and stand within it, right, and build the ark while rowing it, that's the point. Building the plane while flying for sure. Because right now we are in the midst of massive turbulence, and if we don't build the plane while flying, well, we're going to crash anyway. We've got devils to face, and it's up to us to choose not only what devil we face and when, but how, in what spirit, in what posture, in what state of mind, how we think about it, how we see it, our perspective. Are we going to walk by faith or sight? So I just ask you to get covered. Cover your world. The world. This is your world. I know you have it covered, but let everybody else know that. And I thank you for allowing me to be a vessel to transmit those words in this prayer across the world. May every word that I'm saying flow and permeate the hearts and minds and souls of anybody who this does interact with. May they truly be changed and renewed and transformed and cleansed and be brought closer to you and brought back to themselves, and understand that there is nothing in this world that you have not allowed to happen. Because all things do indeed work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to your purpose. And we know that your purpose is what your purpose is. Your will is what your will is. That's the point. I said earlier, you are not just an on time God, you are the God of time. You are time itself. Nothing happens without your knowing, without your permission. It's what a glorious, magnificent thing to be aware of, because it changes the way that you see everything. And that's when we know it's faith and not sight. Faith is the evidence of things not seen, the substance of things hoped for. And it's you that told us you have a hope in the future for all your children. Plans to prosper us, not to harm us. Plans for hope in the future. To may we know that and be aware of that and walk in it in such a way that, again, we make it evident to ourselves and everybody that we encounter, and bring them to do the same, simply by seeing. We know we may be the only Bibles that anybody, that certain people will ever read. So may we be living epistles, living sacrifices, living love letters in communication with you, to tell the story that you would have us tell to those that need to hear it. I pray for the world. I pray for my country. I pray for my city. I pray for my community. I pray for my family. I pray for the church as a whole, that we come together more connected and congruent, and understand that the body of Christ is the body of Christ. And as the body has many members, many pieces, all right, in order to, we have to have unity. We don't have to agree, but we have to be united. We have to move as one in order to move at all. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and what we're looking at is instability because of double-mindedness across the board and within your kingdom. It's unfair to you, making it unfair to us, because you love us and you are not a God of confusion. You have called for us to have harmony and peace, love everlasting, truly eternal life here on earth and in heaven. Death has been defeated, so we have to stop giving it power. We have to stop giving the enemy power. We have to stop giving evil power. And the biggest way to do it is to stop doing it. We are the perpetrators of all the things that we are afraid of. We have not been given a spirit of fear, but one of power and love and a sound mind. It is on us to interact with it and act with it. And we do that through the Holy Spirit and the power of your Son who is within us, who you had laid down his life so that he may take our sins from us, and that we may be born again in his name. And so it is in his name that I pray. I honor you, worship you, and I will be careful to give you all the glory and magnify your name in everything that I do. I go forward into my next endeavor in the school with the children today. And I pray that this same energy, knowing that it will carry forward, that I be fruitful, multiply, do as you call, to have dominion and subdue the earth, and just continue to build your kingdom for generations to come. In Jesus' matchless holy name I pray. Amen. And we're about 30 seconds from an hour. And it's getting warm inside, so now we got ants. See, I'm honest. I'm gonna tell the truth. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Yeah, we said what's understood need not be explained. Hey, listen, sometimes I just be talking. I'm joking. I'm never just talking. I'm never just talking. Never. Never just talking. There's a lot of people that I can say shout out to, that inspired this and the way that I'm going about this, the way I'm doing this, the reason I'm doing this. Uh, but in general, again, I give God the glory and know that for those other individuals, they're doing it in such a way that they know what they're doing. Because God's doing it through them. And the whole point is to get the, we may get the praise and the adulation, but it all goes back to him. And I'm like, I forget who said it, but somebody was talking about you do great things to receive greatness so that you can give it back to God. Other people may not know that's what's happening, but that's the thing that's happening here that allows me to then go. Pastor Keon said something yesterday that was so beautiful, right? They don't know that it's what happens in the secret place, right? In your private life. And we talk about what's done in the dark shines in the light, good, bad, and the godly. But it's what you do in the secret place, it's what you hear, what you learn in the secret place that manifests in the public sphere. And that is just so beautiful. So, yeah. This has been Thinking Out Loud with Marcus E. Hendricks Jr., called the episode 1. We'll see when episode 2 comes again. I want to say, the thing actually that I want to say is I don't know when it might come. No, I'm going to be consistent because I have the space and the ability to do so. But I'm also not going to force it. I'm flowing in the spirit, life in the flow of the spirit. Which again lets me know, based off this, there's going to be more. Right? But what I also won't do is how I've done before is spam and overload. This will be intentional. This will be ordered. This will be done in excellence. It will be designed. Right? Again, you see, I've already got my whole little setup back here that I would love to get into one day. Right? But it's a lot, and again, the format, the structure of which this is being done doesn't necessarily allow for that. But and I always say when I close out anything, I love you, I love you, I love you. Peace. That was supposed to be cleaner than